everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today for another episode of the Leveling Up Social Distancing series. If you're tuning in for the first time, I'm your host, Megan McGrogan. I'm the Executive Director of the Greater Utica Chamber of Commerce. And this podcast has been a great way for us to make sure that you are in touch with all of our members in the community. And specifically with the social distancing series, we've made sure to keep you in touch with all of our businesses and organizations to make sure you know exactly what's going on with them, how you can get in touch with them, how you can take advantage of their services. So be sure to check out all of the past episodes. We've done a lot of these since the start of the pandemic, and they're real quick, about 15 to 20 minutes. So turn it on, cook dinner, or get on the treadmill, or take a walk. Great way for you to just kind of check back in to see what's going on in our area, again, with all of our businesses and organizations. So you can do that by going to greateruticachamber.org. You can search the show on any place you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple and Google Podcasts. Just search Leveling Up with Meghan McGrogan, and you'll be able to get access to all of those episodes. And of course, if you want to watch the videos, they're on Facebook, YouTube, and again on our website. So you can find it multiple different ways. Do me a favor and click subscribe, and that way you get notified whenever we have a new show, which is fairly regularly, about weekly at this point. So we hope you check those out, and I will get into introducing our guests for today. So today is special because I have two guests with me. I have Cathy Cucharale from Cucharale Consulting and Andrea Card from Paylocity. Welcome, ladies.
Thanks, Megan.
How are you?
We're good. How are you?
Doing good. So today we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about each of your businesses, but we also have a great event coming up next week on September 30th with both of you. And that's actually launching a brand new series with the Chamber called our Better Your Business Forum. And you guys are going to be our first presenters. So we're going to talk about that. But before we get into that event next week, I'd like both of you to introduce yourselves and your businesses so everybody can get to know a little bit about both of you. So Andrea, I think you're going to go first. So take it away.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Megan. So my name is Andrea Card. I work with Paylocity. I've been in the payroll and the HR world for about 7 years, and super excited with what I do with Paylocity and how I'm able to help businesses. We're a true software technology company that really help businesses streamline their processes when it comes to integrating what they utilize for their benefits, their retirement, their time and attendance, their learning, and most importantly, and we'll talk about this more throughout today's meeting, but really building that collaboration and employee engagement with their organization. Paylocity, it's just very exciting what we can do to really help our clients maximize on those items and really develop a great culture at their organization. So excited to be here. Glad that we could hop on today, Megan. And so go ahead, Cathy.
Okay.
Hey, thanks. So I'm Cathy Cucharale. I am president of Cucharale Consulting Group. And we're a consulting group that's kind of newly formed. We formed last year to help small businesses in anything that they need, from their operations to their financials to hiring, firing, office, anything they need that has to be done. We can come in and help them. And the idea is to do better practices, and what we're going to be talking about next week is helping them with their employees and the HR process. I have several years of doing this for local businesses in our community, and then I decided to start doing it for many companies instead of just one. So that's when I formed the consulting group. What really works well is because every business is the same, but they're all different. So what's great is that, we're going to talk about best practices for your employees and their engagement, but it affects everything you do, from, keeping your numbers growing for your financial sides, keeping your inventory, keeping just, the lights on every day. So once you have your staff, put together and cohesive, the rest all falls into place. So my business focuses on doing that, and I partnered with Andrea because I've actually used Paylocity and knew that the programming, and that's why we connected, because we're both kind of doing the same thing, but for two different companies. So it was really great that we were able to collaborate on this.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know we were chatting a little bit offline before we got on the podcast today, but really now is a very important time, right, for people to look at engaging their employees, and whether that be from an HR standpoint or just culture wise, it's extremely important. And for both of you guys, I think this is a great, really opportune time for companies to reach out, because there is so much going on, right? And so what better way to maybe let you guys handle a little bit of that experience, because they can focus on really things like you said, growing your numbers, growing your business, which is really now more important than ever, because we're kind of all turned upside down a little bit. So the title for next week, Creating an Effective Employee Journey and Experience. Tell us a little bit about what can people expect, because I think, not only is this a great way to take advantage of a member benefit, and non-members can come to this as well. It's a free member benefit, so they can just, take in all that knowledge from you guys. But what can people expect? And then, I think it's a great opportunity for them to get to know you a little bit better too, and maybe utilize your services down the road.
Definitely. Well, what they can expect is we're going to provide a lot of resources even after the webinar next Wednesday that'll help them with different checklists for back to work, different email templates that will help them, just a lot of different best practices that they can take away. But on top of that, what we do is we really focus on the entire employee life cycle, and we give you tips and best practices at each step of that process in order to really drive that culture, the employee engagement, and give people ideas of how they can really set themselves up for success with that, especially as we're all navigating all the craziness and unknowns. And we just want to really provide tools that are going to help businesses be successful, and we're super excited about it. I think it couldn't come at a better time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important to add that this isn't structured about one size business, because every business experiences, whether you're a one employee shop or a 50 employee shop, you're dealing with these same type of stresses. They're just experienced a little bit differently, but they're the same. You have to deal with keeping your employees happy, because a happy employee means your business is going to be profitable, and it's going to grow that way. Because once it goes the opposite way, now you're struggling, and all your efforts are going to try to engage that employee. So I think it's really important that it's not just for a small firm, mid-size, or large firm. You really can use these tips we're going to talk about for any size firm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's a really great point. Any size, and we have a lot of members of all different ranges, but a good bulk of our membership is in that 0 to 50 employee, that small business size. So really just to gain this knowledge when maybe you can't afford to pay for a lot of these services, but this is a time for you to look at it. And then, to continue that conversation with you guys, I think sometimes people are surprised to see that they can afford a little bit extra help to take that burden off, because like I said earlier, people need to focus on a lot of things to keep themselves going. And I think, Kathy, you hit the nail on the head. A lot of times people, they think, okay, well, I've got to just keep plugging forward. I got to keep going, got to, kind of check my to-do list off. But if your employees aren't happy, then, you might be focused on, doing all these things in your to-do list, but really that's the most important thing, because these people help to assist you, right? To help those things easier.
Yep.
Be easier.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kathy.
Nope, that was it. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so kind of just to hit on both of some things that you guys just said, we even share some statistics throughout the webinar that really show how employee engagement really helps drive productivity of an employee. So you'd be surprised how important, recognition is. Employees, yes, they look for what is going to pay me the most, what are my benefits at this particular job. But you'd be surprised how many employees actually end up leaving a job because they're not recognized, because they don't feel engaged and a part of the organization. So, Kathy and I both provide tools that really extend out to an entire organization to really help drive those things to happen and take a lot of that off the business's plate so that they can focus on, like you just said, doing what they do best and running their business and, making money, right? So, yeah. Yep.
And, one of the other things that I know you guys are going to focus on is kind of the virtual workforce and how that all works. Because I think when you talk about engagement, a lot of us think of, being in a room or having those conversations. And, for some people, they find this platform easier to have those conversations, but for some, it might not be easy at all. Like we said earlier before we hopped on that, you'd think that these things would get easier, but we're kind of seeing people get fatigued by them. And so, in many ways, they're almost a little bit harder sometimes as we continue on in this direction. So talk a little bit about that and how, maybe you guys are seeing this, why should people tune in to hear about that? Because I personally think it's a very important topic because you have a lot of people who've gone back to offices, but a lot of people are 100% virtual and will probably remain that way for a long time.
Sure. So I would tell you that I have clients that are dealing with that exact issue. And that's why Andrea and I decided to put this together, is many of them didn't have remote workers. And then they went completely remote. And now they're maybe a mixed bag of both. And they're not sure, oh, wait a minute, now they want to start recruiting, but they're used to people coming in the office and sitting down and talking to them, and they're not sure how to do that. So we go into a whole process on how to do, virtual recruiting, because it's the same, but it's different. You're doing it a little bit different. A lot of times you want the person in front of you and to talk to you. Well, now we're going to do it like we're doing this right now. And we're going to give them tips on how to go into that next stage and how to actually have a virtual interview and what the processes are, which are, a little bit different than doing it in person.
Mm-hmm. I know I'm looking forward to that too, personally, because we're going to be looking to recruit, and that's just a really, it almost gives you anxiety to think, well, how am I going to do this? So I know I'm looking forward to all of the things you guys are going to cover, but in particular that one, because I think that it really doesn't have to be stressful. You can kind of frame it up right and prepare yourself to do it and really be successful. And I think we have no choice at this point, right? If we want to move forward, we have to kind of accommodate both sides of the table.
Yep. Definitely. We're actually, the toolkit that we're providing for anybody that's attending is for recruiting specifically. So there's a lot of great resources in that we're going to provide. But it's kind of funny because it all really boils down to communication and just being prepared. And I think a lot of us are so used to kind of living on the fly, our day was our day. And now we just have so many different elements to think about and be prepared for before we do it. So it's a different way of doing things for sure, but I'm very excited about it. I think this will help a lot of businesses locally.
Me too.
Good. Yeah, I know. My big joke prior to all of this, it's like, somehow we managed to get up, get ready for work, get out the door, go to work, grocery shop, go to events, do all of this stuff. And now it feels like we can't get anything done and we hardly leave the house. I mean, it's just
I know.
Like, how do I still have laundry when I'm physically here? I don't get it.
You know what? And it's all I don't know if we necessarily touch on this in the webinar, but it's sometimes it's just taking breaks with how we're set up now, especially if you're working virtually. Like I know even for myself, well, now that I don't have to account for any drive time, I can have meetings all day long and not take a break.
Right.
We all need a break. We all need to, just prepare ourselves better for what we're dealing with now, and we were used to it before and now it's just new. So
you have that work-life balance that's now like all together. There's not, well, I go to work and then I come home. No, it's all happening at the same time. So I think it's kind of gotten blurred together.
Definitely. That's how we feel, for sure. At least definitely in our household with a 3-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I know I'm personally looking forward to next week to get a lot of knowledge from you guys. I know I've known you both for a bit, especially Cathy. We should mention Cathy was a former director for our board of directors at the chamber. So personally, I could speak to her experience in a lot of these things. I know you were a great help on the board. And so, Andrea, we look forward to hearing from you too. And I know you guys are a wealth of knowledge. So everybody make sure you guys tune in. It's next Wednesday, September 30th. So you might catch this. It's going to air tomorrow, but you might catch it on Monday. So just make sure you check the calendar, but it's Wednesday, September 30th. And it's going to be in the morning at 8:30. And you guys can find out all of the information on our website, greateruticachamber.org. If you get to the homepage, you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the link to register. Again, that's going to be free for members. There is a fee for non-members. And it's a great member benefit that we've put together. What better way to share best practices than to share it with all the members of the chamber? And, hopefully you guys can gain some business out of it. And hopefully our members also gain a lot of knowledge. So we're really excited again. And you can click to register. You just have to fill out a little bit of information. And then we'll give you the login and you can log in with us. It's going to be on MaxUC, which is Northland's Zoom platform, Zoom-like platform, I should say, their digital communications platform. So guys, before we head out, just really quickly, tell everybody where they can find out more information about your specific businesses if they would like to get in touch.
Sure. So you can go to Paylocity.com. There's a lot of great resources there to check out too if you have questions around anything. Certainly feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, just Andrea Card. And I think that's about it.
And for me, it's CucharaleGroup.com. The hardest part is spelling Cucharale, so it's Cucharale. So that's CucharaleGroup.com, or you can also reach out to me on LinkedIn as well. And once you go to the website, you can just click on info and it comes right to me anyway.
Great. Okay. So 2 great ways to get in touch with 2 of our members and a great opportunity to take advantage of on September 30th. Again, 8:30 in the morning, GreaterUticaChamber.org to register. Well, ladies, thank you so much for being with me today. It was a lot of fun catching up with both of you, and we look forward to seeing you next week for our Better Your Business Forum.
Thanks, Megan.
Thanks, Megan.
Yeah. Have a